Welcome back. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli said on Wednesday that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi will announce in the coming period the launch of an expanded international summit called Egypt International Summit for Infrastructure and Sustainability. Well, of course, something of great importance. Over the phone, we have Mr. Yasser Kamal Tantawi, infrastructure development expert. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, sir. So
Good
first
morning.
of all, how do you think of this idea, just having an international summit titled Egypt International Summit for Infrastructure and Sustainability?
Technically, it is not a new idea. It's the new trend where the country nationwide is taking it now as mandate, which is to develop the infrastructure because this is the real core of development. There is no development without having the proper infrastructure in place in terms of utilities, transportation, power, and so on. So it comply with the trends of the national level. It's becoming an anthem. It's not something new. It is not something not expected. Actually, it is one of the core things that's on focus on let's say, the government calendar in the past few years. The point is, Egypt is moving from being a country looking just to survive into a country which is looking to proper advanced development. So the trend is, the vision is changing, the mission is changing of the government, and so the entire, let's say, government arms are working in this trend. So technically, it could be a cornerstone in not acquiring new opportunities only, but to market the Egyptian capabilities and fruitfulness of doing business in Egypt or through Egypt. Especially, it will be a new hub for power, energy, transportation management to Africa and Europe. So I believe it's a very tolerated approach of benefit to everyone. And technically, everybody will get gain out of it, rather from Egyptian side or from external side.
Talking about Egypt nowadays in the region being as a model for all the unprecedented achievements in infrastructure, and talking about all the projects that took place and all the linking routes that are linking all the pivotal places here in Egypt, and how this can be part also of this important event, adding to this the developments taking place in the urban areas. Having such an event, bringing together the African countries, or talking about the African continent in general and the Arab region as well.
As I told you, we can say it's a continuity of what have been discussing, because Egypt sizing, you are speaking about a nation which is more than 100 million of capita, so it's not an easy ability to ignore concerning capacity, competency, and requirements also of needs. So technically, we cannot afford needs without knowing exactly our competency, our values, and how we are going to develop it. So technically, the government is trying to step ahead, one step ahead of the current population growth, in which the country could maintain the expansion. On the other side, being in such geographical and political position, which is country, let's say, expanded, exposed to other nations, this is what we call it a part of the Egypt soft power of expansion, and to ease, let's say, it's not the point of ease only, it's now the changing of the vision of other nations or other countries, a political system to Egypt, from being a very slowly motivated nation or looking over for sustainability or looking for surviving into a developing a resilient, sustainable system all over. So technically, the growth rate in the Egyptian population versus the opportunities acquired by governments and those expanded projects will lead to a huge increase in the potential capacity of the country to acquire more investment. So technically, I think most investment platforms outside Egypt, regardless of the user type, will be very hungry to acquire lots of opportunities in Egypt and lots of things, especially once it comes to infrastructure, power grids, and so on.
Talking also about the Human Development Report that reflects the comprehensive development efforts undertaken by the state, which extend, of course, to all aspects of life in Egypt. And we have seen many initiatives that took place, successful initiatives that took place in this respect.
Yes. As we see, there are huge developments in the railway, power, infrastructure for water, wastewater, and so on. Education, which is a part of the national infrastructure, population, housing systems, and so on. All of that are utilities and infrastructure management. All of those projects are not discrete projects. They are all integrated under one umbrella of the national development of the national infrastructure. So technically, because you cannot afford expansion of your project without having reliable society or community that will support that. We have billions of investments on the going, and Egypt will still need to invest more to do that. We need to remember that most of the major players, once they took over position with countries like Dubai or the cities like Dubai and so on, their key milestone was the infrastructure requirements, and this is what we are doing now. But with the size of Egypt, the opportunity will be extremely high, and that will lead also to more development in our infrastructure where we are having. With the speeches done by His Excellency Prime Minister and His Excellency the President before them concerning the corner milestones from the infrastructure development, the new summit, and the HR, or let's say human capacity and resources report that was done, and the sustainability report, all of that are the only keys of development. So we are marking the opportunity, we are developing the community to maintain that opportunity and develop it. Then we are seeking, let's say, points of development in the infrastructure, regardless of the type of it. And then we are integrating all of that into the Egyptian 2030, let's say, vision in the coming 2030 and 2050 in the coming version. I think this is all about integration of the entire infrastructure grid with the community.
And definitely, it's a part also from our 2030 vision as well.
It is. It is. That's why I'm saying it's part of the 2030 and 2050 vision. It's a very long vision, and this is one of the, let's say, almost the first time in the last 60 years that Egypt is taking such a strategic trend on long-term basis, not a very short-term basis. And we need to remember that all of our issues and the turbulences that happened in Egypt before was based on the government of the leadership was taking a very short milestones, or not a strategic mega steps, let's say.
Right, Mr. Yasser Kamal Tantawi, infrastructure development expert. Thank you very much for joining us. And I guess with this, we come to the end of our breakfast show for today. Thank you all for joining us, and stay tuned for more coming up on Nile TV International.